Hi, it's Alan McInnes. I don't feel like writing tonight, but I do have something I want to put into the world. Before I do that, I want to talk about Exu Nazares. I want to wish him the best in the next, whatever journey his soul is on. It is no longer involved in this bardo or what have you. But this was one of his final t-shirt designs. Released the bats. I did an article about him in the Georgia Straight, talking about his unfinished graphic novel, and House of Exu t-shirts on Etsy. A business, I don't know what his partner's long-term plans are, if she plans to continue that business, but I wrote about it. He's also in my Monte Cristo article about Godspeed You Black Emperor, which is really interesting. Even if I didn't write it, I would say it's really interesting because it deals with the old black woman who used to testify in front of the Woodwards building. And I get to bring in people I never expected to talk to, from the RCMP to Cass King to Keith Perry. Keith was the one who pointed out that she was sampled on Godspeed You Black Emperor's first album. So that old woman at the start of these tastings is someone Keith and I walked by on a daily basis. And Exu was by far the star of that article because he brought an element of voodoo, of possession, of being ridden by the spirits, being a divine horseman and all that. He brought that into the article and connected it with some of that woman's more outlandish behavior. I guess I'll just take you over here and send with some thanks. This image, this is a gift from Bob Hannum. He had collected a few over the years. That's one of her. Anyhow, Lead the Godspeed Emperor. Exu was important. I'm wearing a shirt. I gifted members of MeBats No Fun and Mrs. No Fun this shirt, which may become relevant at a later date. Don't know who I want to talk about. None of that. I don't want to talk about Exu. But Monte Cristo, my new story for Monte Cristo is, pardon my pronunciation, tongue surgery. Okay. I have a story about that in Monte Cristo too, actually. But never mind. Where was I? Monte Cristo. My new story for them is on Asian Persuasion All-Stars, and it got me thinking tonight. The cat is jumping up onto his favorite spot. Cats are always fun in a video. Hey, Nicholas, how's it going? Hi. Oh, give us your butt, yeah. Anyhow, Asian Persuasion got me thinking about moving to Japan. That's our previous cat on the wall, Tibble. When I moved to Japan in 1999, lived there for 3 years, part of the JET program, blah, blah, blah. I thought I knew a bit about Japanese popular music. There were several bands from Japan I had heard of. I even had a Numezu Kazutoki CD with Tom Cora and some other downtown New York types. Hi, Nicholas. First Deserter, I think it was. Or, no, it wasn't. It was a different one. Anyhow, I knew some Japanese jazz. I knew about Akira Sakata would be another example. Akira Sakata. Hi. But, you know, I was shown a knife, and I'd seen the boredoms, and I figured, I think I might have even heard of Acid Mother's Temple at that point. Were they around in '99? Heino Casey Heino. Yeah, I knew some things, and I figured this would impress my Japanese coworkers. Oh yes, I know Japanese pop music. Fuck no, no, they didn't know a single band that I referenced. It was all who, what? No, these are very obscure. Shonen Knifeu, who? They had no idea who I was talking about. If I mentioned discing, then sure, but if I was talking to some, if I was talking to Otomo Yoshihide Otomo, my names are not consistent. If I were to talk with Otomo-san about something, I only ever talked about him to a couple of short conversations. Didn't really talk to him at all, but he would know who, whatever, all these bands were. But my coworkers, it's like, if I mentioned those bands here in Vancouver to square straight people, they would all be like, no, never heard of Shonen, what? Right? So the music freaks know from foreign countries. Now that may have changed, right? Like K-pop is big here. People know some of that stuff. Things may be changing. Maybe actual popular music that's popular there is popular here. Because the stuff they were listening to, L'Arc-en-Ciel, I can't pronounce that, Glay. What the fuck are Glay? I'd never heard of this at all. The Buddha Brothers? What's this? There was, some of it was real cool, but some of it was kind of corny and kind of weirdly, the radio was, I was not a J-pop fan, sorry to say. Were you a J-pop fan, Nicholas? Nicholas, hi. Hello. Say hello to the people. Can you see yourself? Does the cat see itself? I don't think so. You see yourself moving? Okay. Anyhow. I didn't know any of the bands those people were. Southern All-Stars? Who are they? Like Leonard Skinner? What kind of, yeah. So, now, one of the people who did know the weird Japanese stuff I had explored, sort of, was Zev Asher. And I knew a bit better. I have a big interview with him on my blog, and when I did in Vancouver, my first story published in Vancouver was about his movie Kazuistry, The Art of Killing a Cat, but not this one. The cat is safe. It's all right. Interesting film, documentary about an animal cruelty case. Zev was not supporting the people behind it, but he wanted to understand what they were thinking, and did make a pretty interesting film. It's not easy to watch. So Zev, I started to talk with him to bond about the oddball Japanese culture I was exploring, and I heard about him from someone at the sugar refinery who should talk to Zev, and I'd heard his name. I might have even had a Nimrod CD that I picked up at scratch. And so I ended up hosting a screening of a Zev Asher film on Noise Night at the Van City Theater a long time ago. Members of Tunnel Canary were involved. The Tunnel Canary documentary played. There was the Minimalist Jug Band played. He's not a noise musician, but it seemed to work. Oh yeah, the Ejaculation Death Rattle played. He was incorporating a childhood whooshing toy tube into there. Yeah. So it was an interesting night. And Zev told me about a band. He'd been making a film. The film he screened, Zev performed that night too, and the film he screened was about a band from Shanghai, I believe, called Torturing Nurse. And that was his final documentary on film, I think. It was an unrealized Sonic Youth project he was working on, and I don't think he ever got that one done. But he'd done this music documentary on Torturing Nurse, and we screened it at the Rare Center. He gave a solo noise performance, and we had a long interview, which you can find, as I say, it's on my blog, Zev Asher Memorial Interview. I posted it a while after he died. I'd hoped to do something with it while he was alive, but it didn't really come to fruition. Anyhow, Zev. And he mentioned while he was in China, he checks out rock bands, and the one band he recommended, we get to the point, were Carsick Cars. Check this out. Sorry, that's only me to hear of that, but right, the whole album's that good. Zev likened them to Sonic Youth, but clearly there's a much popular element at work. I'm almost ready to just stop the world and melt with them, but it's delightful. It's immediately infectious. It's great. So, the long and short of it is, I know 2 bands from China. One of them is Torturing Nurse, who are not my cuppa. Film is interesting, but music? No, don't want that. Thank you. Very harsh, extreme noise. I think there was some kink involved. Performance sadism, something. No, don't really. Interesting film, not going to the concert. Sorry, but, not that they're touring. But Carsick Cars, I got to see them in Vancouver, maybe the only time they played here, I don't know, fucking Astoria or something. I wrote about it in The Straight. Sidney Coke is not a photographer. I make a mistake in that article, which she later scolded me for, and rightly so. She had Pink's open when she was in the band. Yeah, mea culpa. I fuck up sometimes, but they're great. And I recommend all their albums and just spend some time with Carsick Cars because, like, Asian Persuasion and China Syndrome, they're so nice. You know, they gave me, like, free shirts. They gave my wife and I guest listings. Tim is always very generous with me. And this time I felt kind of sheepish about that generosity because, after all, I was actually getting paid for this one, right? So, I can afford it. I would actually come see you even if I had to pay. But thanks, because money's a concern, and I'm buying records still, and So, anyhow, very nice guys, very generous, and I ended up feeling bad, so I dug through all my Chinese and Japanese CDs. It was easy in the case of China, but I do have some interest, and I don't have any of that mainstream shit. Korean music as well. I have no K-pop. If I could buy it, I would buy some Rux, R-U-X. Look them up if you want some Korean street punk. Amazing band. Kind of some famous hijinks on television, which you can learn about. And they're kind of the Korean answers to the Sex Pistols, but with flapping wieners. Good band, really catchy. Wish I had some Rux come and play here. But I don't know the pop music. I think someone in Asian Persuasion would appreciate this. I gave Ron Kenji my United Future Organization CDs, which I love the sound of but never listened to. So I gave away some stuff, non-Asian stuff. I had a couple of canned duplicates. I gave them some CDs and whatnot to thank them for their generosity and show them some generosity of my own, because they're nice people. And I promised I was going to give them this, because I have the vinyl. No, don't really need to double up on it. So I promised I was going to give them this, and then I couldn't find it. It wasn't in the bag with the other CDs. What happened was, the cat's gone. Where's the cat? The cat has left the room. The cat does not want to hear me talking to myself like this. Oh, there's the cat. Nice and cool by the bag of crap DVDs. Okay. So, where was I with the cat here? Carsick Cars, Asian Persuasion. Yeah, the cat needed his food changed, and so I changed his food and was in the process of replacing the cover for the Carsick Cars CD. It was cracked. Didn't bring it. Came home the next morning, I'm feeding the cat, and there's the Carsick Cars CD. So I am gifting Asian Persuasion All-Stars, probably Tim. I was going to give it to Tony, because I'd already given Tim something else, but Tony isn't a CD guy, apparently. So, yeah. Anyhow, Carsick Cars coming towards you, Asian Persuasion. And, yeah, people should read that article and read my article on Exu and my tongue cancer thing. There's some fun stuff. Go see the X, if you can. Just excited to hear that beginning. Manchester, kind of, I don't know my new age stuff, but my new wave stuff that well. But fun bass line.